everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Scale with Strategy. I'm Elizabeth McFadden, CEO and Director of Brand Strategy at Novella Brand House.
Hey, everybody. I'm April Beach, CEO of the Sweet Life Company and host of the Sweet Life Entrepreneur Podcast. We're so glad you're here.
Yes, and we've got an awesome topic, so we're going to jump right in. So today we're talking about how to leverage trade shows and conferences for leads. And both April and I have we've attended trade shows together over the years, and we actually attend a number of them every year. And let me start by saying you cannot expect to just simply attend a conference or a trade show and get leads. That's not how it works. So we're going to talk today about some things, some strategies, and some tips that we have found that really work well. And I think you can take all of these, some of these kind of depends on what works for you, what type of shows you go to, conferences, that type of thing. So like I said, the first thing is you actually have to be willing to do more than simply attending the show. And I think, April, were you going to jump in? No.
Okay. I was just looking at the comments on LinkedIn. Yeah, okay. You can't just show up and just expect that everything be like, oh, who are you? I want to know everything about you.
Right.
There is a strategy.
Yes. And so a couple of things. First of all, utilize your network ahead of time. So we're going to talk about some things you can do before going to the show. So whether you are exhibiting or simply attending the show, you want to make sure that you can maybe schedule some networking opportunities ahead of the show, right? Because there are people that have, they'll come in early, they'll stay after the show. But, typically the show, there's either opportunity in the morning, maybe over lunch or in the evening that you can meet for drinks. You can meet for coffee, dinner, lunch, breakfast, what have you. And so identify people that are going to be at the show that you want to have a little kind of sort of one-on-one time with, right? You don't want to just maybe happen to catch them on the conference floor in the conference ballroom or something in between different sessions. And I recommend a couple ways to do that. One, if you know that there are clients, potential clients that are maybe in that city, maybe they're not attending that show, certainly set up opportunities that way. People that are attending the show, utilize different maybe networking groups that you're in. For instance, when I go to a show, I tap my 10,000 Small Business Alumni Network, I tap my Hey Mama network, and I set up meetings before I get there. I'll also look at if I can see they release like an attendee list. I'll look at that too. The second thing is a lot of times these shows will have like a Facebook group, or they'll have some sort of like kind of networking group that you can get in, be a part of, meet some other attendees ahead of the show. And this is another way to just, again, meet some people before the show, kind of see who's going to be there, sort of establish a little bit of a relationship beforehand, and even maybe connect with people that you want to meet with. So that's kind of some of the things in terms of like networking wise. Some of the things you can do is look at, are there speaking opportunities? Sometimes, they'll have their like main speakers at a show, but they might be reaching out to people that are attending to lead roundtables or be part of a panel or something like that. So look if there are speaking opportunities. Look at if there are there any opportunities, even if you're not a sponsor or an exhibitor, that you can participate in as kind of like a sort of like a little mini sponsor, or as something like to put on something like an extra event around the show. Are there ways that you can get your brand name out there and kind of increase awareness among attendees? And also make a marketing plan, a social media marketing plan before you go to the show. So these are all things that you want to think about before you go. Like, how are you going to promote you being there? Are you promoting that you're going to be there before you attend the show? What types of sessions do you want to make sure that you are really taking some great notes on so you can recap later, post in a blog, what have you?
Right. And I just want to gem a little bit on what you said about making sure that you are figuring out who you want to connect with before the show. Just want to say something about that. For you guys, if you're going alone and you actually don't know anybody, this actually came up within our client community. One of my clients asked, and she's an introvert, and she asked, she's like, I know I need to go to these things, but I'm an introvert and I don't know anybody there. One of the things that you can do, like Elizabeth said, is you can tap into your networks, that your groups, your online groups, and just see who's going. And it's completely fine to ask for an introduction, or just to say, hey, listen, I'd love to meet you. I understand that sometimes it feels a little intimidating going to a place. I just went to a conference and I go all by myself, and I did know some people, and I will share like exactly what I did before and what the agenda was. But when you go to some place like that, it can be a little intimidating. It can be a little lonely when everybody else is like, hey, it's so great to see you. And you're just standing there by yourself. And so ways that we get around that are by tapping into other resources, other communities, and saying, hey, listen, do you know anybody that's going? Could you provide an introduction for me? Because the thing is you're not the only one going alone. Right. You're not the only one there that might not actually know anybody. And so we want to figure out how you can gravitate towards those people as well.
Yeah. I mean, I love that, April. So I think two things with that. Like I've gone to 4 conferences this year. 3 of those were definitely, like, I was learning things, but it was really networking and relationship building and that kind of thing. The other one, one of those was really just a learning. It was an industry show, and yes, there was some networking going on, but we were really there to learn. That was our primary goal. So like you were saying, I mean, most of the time people are going to network and to meet people. And so, and I love your idea of reaching out to your network and seeing if one, like we were saying earlier, if any of those people are going that you could meet up with, but do they know people that are going? And could they make an introduction ahead of time, right? Just so, again, you've got some kind of people you already kind of just know, even just know of before you go to the show. And I did that. I went to a show in January. I did not know a soul there, but I reached out ahead of time, connected with some people in my networks. And one of them, exactly what you said, April, she's like, I'm not going to be there, but this person is, and you should meet this person. And she connected us just via LinkedIn, and we took it from there. Another really great tip is typically, let's say a show starts like on a Monday morning, right? Usually the night before, they'll have like a little and they'll call it like an honorees reception or like an evening reception or something like that. And it's really just, usually it's like maybe a little happy hour, some type of little reception, maybe a couple hours long. And it's just for people to meet. Go to those. Every time I go to those, especially if you don't know anybody at this conference, go to those, because it's people that, I mean, again, all those people there, they are wanting to meet other people. You can easily walk up to a group of people that you don't know, and they're very eager to meet you. But it's a great way to like connect with a couple of people, so that when you walk in that first morning to the huge ballroom or what have you, and you don't know anybody and it's super intimidating, you'll be able to find a couple of faces that you met the night before, and you can like grab a seat with them. And you automatically kind of have somebody that, you know, you've connected with, and, you know, just like a little pal to start out the show with. So definitely make sure to take advantage of those opportunities. I do that every time. And always, sometimes those people are some of the kind of, those are the best relationships I come out of the show with. So April, go ahead.
Think of like trying to make friends with the kids in your neighborhood before you go to the first day of school.
Yes.
Like you just need one, if you have one kid just to walk into school with, even if you don't really know them, it helps so much. And we just kind of go back to those early, if we can just like, we'll end the show right now, just go back to those early, like elementary school social tactics that we did, you know, to survive those early days. But it's really true. And it expands from there. Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll just get more out of the show, because usually they've met some other people, right? Just like you have. So again, like the show I went to just last week, the conference I was at, I had gone to like the Sunday night event. met some great people. The next day, when like all the attendees were there, it wasn't as intimidating. And I found one of those ladies that I had met the night before. We sat together. Well, then she was introduced to me to other people. I was introducing her to other people, and it was great. Okay, so typically ahead of the show, you get a schedule of events and speakers and panels and things like that. So I think everybody generally goes through that, and they you mark what you're going to see, what you're going to do, because sometimes you've got to choose. There might be like 3 different things going on at the same time, what have you. So take that a step further, and the speakers or anybody, the panelists, anybody that you're going to be listening to and seeing in those sessions, start following them on social media. And again, don't be fake about it, but be authentic. Like, maybe leave a comment on something they've posted. Or if you really have a connection with them, or you really am like hoping to meet them at the show, whatever, hop in their DMs and say, hey, I'm really looking forward to your talk at the conference next week. Is there any way I could just say hi to you after the talk or something? Or maybe even grab a coffee with them. A lot of times those speakers and panelists, they're around for the whole show, and you can grab them at some point and have a quick chat or what have you. I know, April, you are so good at, I feel like, connecting with some of those speakers, and you always get a picture with them. Why do you do that?
I always do that. Well, the ones I like, the ones I,
well, of course,
the ones I value what they really said. I feel like it's important. Well, it might not be important to you guys. So to me, like, our network that we introduce our clients to is a big part of why they love working with us. So when we have a huge network, a lot of them with industry thought leaders, and we have established relationships with them, it really helps not only our business, but it helps our clients. So getting those photographs is part of what we're going to do. And one of the things I was going to say was, if possible, have an agenda for yourself, okay, besides learning. And so I would just really recommend that you have some sort of an ask, not just networking. That ask could be setting up a coffee date for after the show. A lot of people are busy. So that might be that might be your win. You're going to make friends. You're going to, shake hands, kiss babies, take the pictures, do the stuff, and do all the stuff that Liz said. But we need to have a next step, and you want to schedule or book or get that contact information and book that next step, whatever it may be, at the show. Excuse me. Yeah. So I would say just make sure you have an ask, or what that is, what you're going for on the end of that. Does that hopefully?
Totally makes sense. And yes, that's another great tip. And I love that, go in again. I think the whole theme of what we're talking about to all of these things is that you have to be very intentional with everything that you're doing there. And, who you're meeting with and your time there. You'll find that the time goes very fast. So you want to be very clear on what, like April, like you said, what your goals are. Okay, so I have props. You want to make sure, and I feel like I shouldn't even have to say this, but bring your business cards and bring a lot of them. Okay. Or I'm running into more people that are doing like the electronic, I can't remember what the app is.
Digital, like
it's like a
thing.
That's fine too, right? But I mean, do not go to a show or a conference without something to, a business card to give people. I also take our leave behinds. If you guys have been on here before, you've seen our leave behinds.
Mine in the mail. It's so beautiful. Beautiful.
I take these, and I do not give them to everybody because that's obnoxious. But if I'm kind of really having it right, but if I'm really inexpensive. If I'm really having like a connection with somebody, and it feels like this would be like the right thing to do to kind of give them a leave behind, I'll do that, and they love it. Okay. Also, and April, I know you are good at this too. Like wear like a branded shirt, or like I put my stuff in this little bag, and I carry this bag around, right? It's just, I always wear my red glasses. It's just some make sure you're being on brand. All right. And then I'm going to end with, after the show, okay, connect with first of all, send them a note. Like April said, maybe set up a meeting with them afterwards, connect on LinkedIn, and then, continue to nurture that relationship. And that is how you're going to leverage shows and conferences for leads and build awareness.
All
right. Okay, we're going to leave
All
it there.
We'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, everybody.
You felt like it was valuable. We appreciate that.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Bye.